What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Kai Jukebox. I wanted to sort of hone in on the Monster Hunter Wilds hype train as we build towards its release next year. We haven't been given a date, but I'm over the moon excited. I can't stop thinking about it. And I have done a couple of Monster Hunter related videos on the channel in the past. I know I did a quick tour of all of my games, my collection, and or the games and everything that I own related to the franchise. And then I also did a rant sort of video pitting World against Rise. Got a little heated on that one. Thankfully, nobody watches my channel, so I didn't get any backlash for it. But if you know me personally, you know that this franchise is very near and dear to my heart. It is probably the piece of media that I love the most. The video game franchise that has resonated with me most. I have been playing it since 2016, maybe. So going on 8 to 9 years now 2015. I started playing it in 2015, leading up to the release of 4 Ultimate on the new Nintendo 3DS. And so this franchise is very near and dear to my heart. And I would consider myself, even though I had to go back and play the games on the PlayStation, I would consider myself a super fan, or even like a classic Monster Hunter fan. I joined in on the Third Fleet, actually. I came in, played Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate first. When I started seeing trailers and such, and the demo for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, I thought it looked really interesting and went back and played 3 Ultimate on the Wii U, because I was one of the 2 people that owned a Wii U. But if you played with me back in the day, 2 or so years after the launch of 3 Ultimate on the Wii U, which there was a decent community on there, you probably had the opportunity to play with me because I played every single day. And to be honest, I never thought that the old world style of games had become stale yet. I still don't feel that way. I still log on to Generations Ultimate, and I still play Monster Hunter 1 and DOS on my modded PlayStation 2, where I can play region-free games. And I'm not tired of that old world formula. I even play a little bit of Portable Third on my PSP on occasion. And sometimes I just gotta log back into 4 Ultimate and see my old builds and sort of reminisce, because it's been a significant part of my life, because I'm 21 years old now. Started playing these games when I was 12 years old. So, almost half of my life has been spent in this world. And to me, the old style of games, because of their limitations, were always so enthralling to me. I guess sort of like when you read a book, you have to picture the world, and you get so engrossed, you come up with these images in your imagination. Because the old games were limited in fashion, looking off in the distance at one of those JPEG looking backgrounds and thinking, man, I wish I could take my giant sword and go hunt a monster over there, an area you'll never be able to explore. Something about that made the world feel so huge, even though it was smaller in scale with these separated zones. Now, when World got announced, I was ecstatic. I was largely a Nintendo gamer at the time, and I had a bunch of friends playing on Xbox, and it got announced when I was 14, so I was mowing lawns. I saved up enough money to get an Xbox so I could play World with my friends. And so Monster Hunter was kind of my gateway into other video game consoles even. I had a PSP, and I had a Nintendo 3DS, a Wii U, so I still had ways to play other games, but like sort of broader console gaming, I kind of branched out into it because of World. Now, I had friends who had Xboxes and PlayStations, and I played at their house, but I never owned an Xbox or a PlayStation proper until I played World. And now I'm a big PC gamer. I really enjoy that platform, and that's probably where I'll play Wilds. But I played the majority of Rise on my Switch, and trying to do some get to the end game on PC now solo, but played all the way through Rise and Sunbreak on my Switch, and I liked playing it on that platform. Of course, playing it in 4K and the 60 FPS is certainly much crisper and cleaner, but I liked playing it on the Switch. I had a group of friends, and we played together. Shout out Marcus and Micah and Matthew. For some reason, all of you start with the letter M, but shout you out. Thank you for the time that we spent playing Rise together, because I always had a group of friends to play this series with. Back on 3DS, I hosted a Skype server in a way, not quite like Discord, but we had our own big chat room specifically for playing 3 Ultimate online on Wii U, which was mainly me. Not a lot of my friends had a Wii U, but more specifically 4 Ultimate and Generations on 3DS. We were big into that. Then we got over to Discord. We used Discord to play Rise, Generations Ultimate, and so throughout my life, I've always had people to play with. That group has changed a bit, but a lot of my OG Monster Hunter friends, like Connor, we still play together today when we can, and that leads us to this new 6th generation entry in a franchise that clearly has meant so much to me. And I'm scared. I'm really scared. To be fair, I think that the game looks incredible. I am hanging on every trailer breakdown for these teaser and the first 2 trailers they've released. I've watched every piece of content on YouTube probably. And I've actually cut myself off. I'll get into why I'm worried about the game, but first I just want to say they have a tendency to just reveal everything that's in the game except for the final boss. I feel like 95% of the roster gets announced. And so actually for the first time, I followed World really closely, and I followed Rise very closely, the same way I've started to follow Wilds. And for the first time, I'm actually backing off, and I've cut myself off from watching anything more. At Gamescom, when they're going to show the next trailer and people are going to have a chance to have a hands-on demo, I've blocked that all out. Unfortunately, I had to go on YouTube and say, hey, I'm not interested in Monster Hunter over and over again. So it would stop being in my feed because I was going to keep watching the videos. But I feel like the information that we have now is still pretty limited. I mean, I've gotten to see things like the focus and the swapping weapons and the new mount and some of the new monsters. But I want to be surprised, because back when I played the original games, I wasn't really on the internet scouring it for information. Like, I just went in blind and played Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and it was an amazing experience to just load into a map and see a monster you'd never seen before. And so I'm trying to recapture that with this new game by finally not swallowing every single piece of content that could be released for it. But anyways, Wilds is concerning for me because it is continuing down this pathway of innovation. And you may say, well, innovation is a good thing. And I agree with you. The new Monster Hunter, which has varied a lot between World and Rise, as we see, the new Monster Hunter is an amazing experience. But it's not the Monster Hunter experience that I prefer. I don't know. I mean, I don't throw shade at World and Rise like they're bad games, because Rise is one of my most played Monster Hunter games, actually. I was probably in second place. But these are not the same games. And some of the appeal of the new games is different than what I originally came to the franchise for. And so we've gotten to the point where it's time to just accept that the series that I once loved it's changed forever. When they announced Rise, I was hoping that it would be sort of a return to form. You know, they were going to separate the hub quest and the village quest. It started to feel like, okay, maybe this is going to be more in line with the older games, and the mainline games will be sort of the big, immersive, heavy new hunting experience. And then Rise, the sub game, will be closer kind of to the traditional experience. And then we loaded into Rise for the first time and realized that it is further from the original experience. But I still love those games. It's time to put to rest the hopes that we will have a return to form. And go on proudly accepting that the new Monster Hunter is going to innovate. Every game is going to be significant upgrade. And that change is exciting. I'm thrilled to see what Wilds does. But I don't want to disappoint myself by thinking this is going to be like 4. This is going to be like Freedom Unite. Which even all those games vary a lot. But the variation between the games versus the variation between the old world games versus the variation between, like, say, 4 Ultimate and World is drastically different. Of course, every old world game has its own unique flavors with arts, and some have palicos, others have other companions, some you can play as a palico. They vary. We know this. Going from Freedom Unite to Portable Third, there's obviously a big difficulty drop. But I'm okay now. For a while, I was a little bit salty. I had a little bit of a grudge against World because I guess I just expected it to be what I'd always known. But when I could finally accept that this franchise is evolving, World, Rise, Wilds, whatever the next portable game is, which of course I'm already thinking about that. The more I come to accept that, the more I start to feel comfortable with it. And I'm concerned at where Wilds is going to go. But I have to be okay with it. Because Capcom, they've done some stupid things. Make some weird decisions. But in general, I trust them. I trust them to make a good experience. So much heart and soul is poured into these new games. You can see it. You watch the interviews with the producers and the directors and the game designers. They clearly care about this franchise. And so whatever piece of art that they end up putting out, I'm going to play it with my friends. I'm going to sink hundreds of hours into it. And I'm going to make some good memories with it too. Signing off.